Hello everyone, welcome to Purpose Built with myself, Swamgele Dial, and we are on episode 4 of the Awakening series, and as promised, we have Uputsi Venati.
Already.
So we're going to continue on what our journey was, as connected to obviously what I talk about in the book.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay, cool. So do you want me to start?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So in Masterpieces, as you've seen in the previous video, I speak about the mother fracture and my relationship with my ex, who was a woman, and how I had to go back to that relationship in terms of healing because of realizing that there was a huge issue with the relationship I had with my mother, as connected to the relationship. So one of the things that I speak about in the book is my experience of feeling unworthy and inadequate for God to call me, and that was because earlier in my varsity days, we had an abortion. So we're going to talk about what that journey was like, and So
how was it like?
Tough. I think that is probably one of the most difficult decisions I've ever had to make. And it's probably one of the only things that I look back at with regret in my life. How was it for you?
Just the stuff. But what made it easier for me at that point in time was the fact that we were on the same page. Supposedly on the same page, because we never spoke about it.
We were on the same page in terms of terminating the pregnancy. But obviously I had ups and downs also about whether I wanted to keep the child or not.
Those are the things we didn't really speak about. I don't think we had a proper sit-down conversation to decide what are the options and weigh them up. And this was because you felt pregnant like very early in our relationship. It was about a month or something like that. So it was still honeymoon stage. We hadn't gotten to the part where we were tested so much that we knew how to deal with each other, like with each other. So it was like such a curveball very early on, and
we hadn't gotten to know each other as well, like just our characters.
That's what I'm saying. It was so early, we didn't know anything about each other. We were just in this love bubble, and the thing was, when this happened, I remember this person comes all the way from Grahamstown. It's about a 2-hour drive. And then you get to PE, right? Obviously you're excited to see that person. Hey, this person just wants to sleep all the time. I'm like, I think I even got upset at one point. I was like, I don't understand. Like, you come all the way here to sleep. Like, I felt like this is not on.
And I also didn't know, like, I just thought I was tired because I was working and I was studying. So I was just like, like, I really didn't think anything of it. Yeah.
So we decided
Yeah.
that.
So like after the sleeping patterns, my body started changing. I think I missed a period, and that's when I went to go get checked, and then we found out we were pregnant.
This was the problem, and especially falling pregnant very early, is that I'm in a position whereby there's certain things I feel about it, but now I'm in a position where I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna say anything, just in case whatever I say influences the decision. So I was like, okay, let me just wait, you know. And then I think you told me that this is where you are, and you had your reasons.
Yeah. My reasons were solely based on the fact that at that point in time, I didn't feel that I had the capacity to take care of a child emotionally, because I was going through the most at that time. But I also didn't have the support structure to, you know, bring a child into the world. And one of my biggest fears had been to raise a child with the same brokenness that I grew up having. So I was just like, I'm not going to impose my hurt and confusion and pain on a child when I feel that I don't have the capacity to take care of one. So yeah.
Another thing that I felt, and I think I shared it at a later stage, like I had so many doubts because of how we got into a relationship, because I had to persist and like sort of win you over. I had this thing lingering now, and because it's so early, I was like, what are the chances, you know, like it's so early, we just met, and like I literally had to fight for this relationship, because I had to be like knocking on the door constantly, you know. And then now I get the relationship, and now boom, pregnancy. So I was like, it's a lot, too soon, you know. It was a very scary time, and I think it comes back to what you were saying about support structure. You know, like I had the support structure, but it was more the fear now. How do I go back and just say this is the situation? And I'm doing my second year at that time, so I feel like
can I come in there?
Yeah.
And the other thing is that he's 2 years younger than me. So when
really
stop it. So when I was doing my second year masters, he was doing his second year, as he just said. And I think one of the things that I did, which I think I was being unfair on myself, was take that burden on, that like I literally took your entire life on my shoulders, and I was like, if I decide that I want to keep this child, nah, I don't want you like 5 years down the line, you saying I kind of stagnated your life. I had a baby and you weren't ready, type of thing. And that's the thing, like I wasn't thinking about whether you would take it or not, type of thing. And that's a weakness that I think I had for a very long time, Lando, of constantly wanting other people to be okay at the expense of your feelings and what you want. And when I'm saying what I want, it's not that there was a point, because when you get pregnant, you start bonding with the baby. A lot of women who have had children will tell you, like instantly when I knew that I was pregnant, I started bonding with the baby, and I felt at some point, okay, maybe all of this other stuff, which was all of the solid reasons of why I wanted a termination, maybe all of this other stuff will work itself out, and like God will see me through, type of thing. But I wasn't strong enough, faith-wise.
And you were more spiritually in tune
than you
what
were,
I was.
exactly. But I didn't feel strong enough. I think I didn't believe God strong enough for me to feel that He could carry me through that, and I basically carried the load onto myself. And yeah, we then made the decision to terminate the pregnancy.
Hey, that place, I didn't even know there's such places. And the thing is, because now, like, obviously she's going through the most emotionally.
Yeah.
And that time I'm scared. But now, obviously now I can't show that, you know. I just had to be there, and I had to be strong, you know, and act like I'm made out of iron kind of thing. So, like, I feel nothing. And that's what happened after the termination. We continued dating, but it was something that was packed up and pushed aside.
Yeah.
And what made me cope with it and what made it okay was bendinela lizuli elitiba. It was what she wanted. So for me it was okay, because at that time I hadn't had the bond, you know, and she wasn't close enough for me to experience literally what she was going through. So,
I think it would have been different if, like, how now, like, being in the same town and stuff, it would have been way different than what it was then, because we were, and also just immaturity emotionally, like, I obviously had also my own stuff that I was going through at that time, and you had your own stuff.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that we were both dealing with our brokennesses, well, we weren't even dealing, the brokenness was there, but we just weren't
dealing with it.
And so having the abortion literally just
elevated
everything, and like things started crumbling down so quickly, so badly. Yeah.
I think the next 7 months of the relationship, we just stuck it through, especially for you, because with me, I would just at any point just detach. Like, if I'm upset, I just detach. If, like, whatever happens where I felt like, okay, this is not for me, I just shut down, literally, just shut down, and like nothing else matters. And I'll just be like in my own zone, in my own channel. And the reason why I say it was harder for her was because she didn't know how to deal with it.
Yeah. I didn't know how to, because you had shutdowns, which were your downs, and then you had the rage peaks as well. So like you either would be like in a hole, or you'd either be in a hole or full orla type of thing, but like not physical fighting, but like
Yeah,
you
right.
were, but like you were like verbally like you like had a lot of rage type of thing, né? And yeah, and that was difficult for me to deal with. Like, yeah, as you're saying, it was a tough place to be at, because I think at the same time I was also just trying to, I realized how big of a dent the termination of the pregnancy was to us in terms of a relationship, and I think I was really trying to make do with what was left, I felt. And it was just a difficult thing to do, because like we were just dealing with things differently emotionally. Yeah, but I only realized later also that your rage was out of suppressed feelings.
And I think a lot of the things, it's not even just the rage.
Yeah.
A lot of the things we realized later, and I say we because for me it took a conversation that we had to basically, and it was years after we had broken up, but that conversation basically resurfaced everything, like every single thing. And you know, when you get told about yourself, right, but that's not the person you know, like that was the conversation for me, because it was just like, it felt like low blows, because I think sometimes as you speak about brokenness, you don't realize how bad it is for the next person, right? Because it's a form of protection and a form of release. So you don't really realize the impact that it has on the next person. And for me, that phone call we had was like...
It was quite a long phone call.
Wow. Like, yeah, it was too real. And I was never ready. So even my reactions at some point, I think I couldn't even react, because I couldn't believe that this person that I was in a relationship with and invested in, I had treated the way everything was being basically explained and illustrated to me. So it was...
But did you...
It took me back.
Did you get to see it later on? Because you're saying that at that point in time it took you aback, but you obviously couldn't connect with it. Did you see it with time?
Not that I couldn't connect. It was more like, I didn't know it was that bad.
Oh, okay.
And the thing is, because of how things basically unfolded in the relationship, I think I didn't know the impact, because you had never at any other point said to me, this is how I feel, and this is how this makes me feel. You know, we never had that conversation. You know, it was a low, and then figure it somehow, and the figuring it out is not talking about it. It's one of those, we at a low, but we...
Like communication sucked at that time.
We get past
completely.
Like, we wouldn't even speak about things. We'd have a fight, right? And then whenever I'm fine and whenever you're fine, we just carry on. We just pick up from there.
Yeah, so communication really becomes an important...
Ask Quab. Communication. I just Quab.
Yeah, because I think if we had communicated, like even in terms of the termination, you know, things would have been much different.
Yeah.
Way different. But it would have also been very different for what the journey would then transpire to be. Yeah.